My uncle's lawn looked like someone was running a dig operation under it. Patches of grass that pulled up in sheets with no roots. Mole tunnels, bird holes, and skunk damage everywhere. A lawn care company told him he had a massive grub infestation and quoted him $300 for a pesticide treatment, plus follow-up applications. Before he signed, I walked the yard with him and showed him a $3 natural powder that handles grubs effectively without the chemical runoff and without killing the beneficial insects. Within a few weeks, the grub damage stopped. The lawn recovered over the next month with proper watering and aeration. And he didn't have to spray anything toxic near the garden or where his grandkids play. Let me walk you through what lawn grubs are, why they appear in some lawns and not others, and the $3 powder that eliminates them safely. First, let's talk about what grubs actually are. Grubs are the larval stage of several beetle species, most commonly Japanese beetles, June beetles, and chafer beetles. Adult beetles lay eggs in lawns during summer. The eggs hatch and the white C-shaped larvae, about an inch long with brown heads, spend most of a year living underground, feeding on grass roots. When population density gets high, they can eat enough roots that whole sections of lawn die back, pulling up like a carpet. Grubs themselves are food for moles, skunks, raccoons, and various birds. So grub infestations often come with secondary damage from animals digging to eat the grubs. A lawn with bird holes, mole tunnels, and skunk damage almost always has a grub problem underneath. The damage threshold is roughly 10 grubs per square foot. Below that, most lawns tolerate grubs fine. Above that, visible damage accelerates and repair becomes necessary. To check for grubs, dig up a 1-foot square section of lawn about 4 inches deep in an area showing damage. Count the grubs. If you see more than 10, you have an active problem. Put the section back and water to help it recover from the digging. Conventional grub treatments are chemical. Imidacloprid is the most common, applied as a granule or liquid. It's effective, but it's also a systemic pesticide with significant environmental concerns. Recent research suggests it contributes to the population decline, and it kills many beneficial soil organisms alongside grubs. Commercial grub killer products cost $20 to $40 for enough to treat a typical lawn, and lawn services charge $200 to $500 for treatment. The $3 natural approach uses one of 2 main biological controls. The first is beneficial nematodes, microscopic worms that parasitize and kill grubs, but are completely harmless to plants, pets, people, and beneficial insects. A container of nematodes costs about $20 to $30 for treatment of a typical yard. They're mail-ordered from garden supply companies, applied with a hose and sprayer, and active in the soil for months. Nematodes are genuinely effective and safe, though a bit more expensive than the $3 framing suggests. The actual $3 approach uses milky spore powder. This is a naturally occurring bacterial disease, specifically Penibacillus papillia, that infects and kills Japanese beetle grubs specifically. Milky spore powder, about $20 for a container that treats up to 2,500 square feet, works over a longer time frame. Grubs ingest the spores while feeding, die, and release billions more spores into the soil as their bodies break down. Over 2 or 3 seasons, milky spore establishes a persistent soil population that maintains grub control for up to 20 years. One application done right can protect a lawn for decades. Or, even cheaper and faster for some situations, is diatomaceous earth combined with good cultural practices. It kills grubs by dehydration when they come in contact with it. Applied to aeration holes, it reaches some grubs. But for full control, combining it with other practices is needed. Here's the comprehensive approach. Step 1. Confirm the grub problem. Dig a square foot section as described. Count grubs. Confirm above the 10 per square foot threshold. Step 2. Choose your treatment. For Japanese beetle grubs specifically, which are the most common lawn grub in much of the United States, milky spore is the best long-term solution. For mixed grub populations, including June beetle and chafer grubs, Beneficial nematodes are more effective because they work on all grub species. Step 3. If using milky spore, apply according to package directions. Typically, you spread a teaspoon of powder every 4 feet across the lawn in a grid pattern. Water thoroughly after application to move spores into the soil. Apply in late summer when grubs are young and feeding actively, which is the optimal time for spore ingestion. Follow up with a second application in year 2 and a third in year 3 for permanent establishment. Step 4. If using beneficial nematodes, apply according to directions. Nematodes come in a sponge or granular carrier. Mix with water in a hose and sprayer and apply to the lawn on an overcast day or in the evening, when UV light is minimal. Nematodes are sensitive to sunlight. Water the lawn well before application to ensure the soil is moist, and keep it moist for 2 weeks to let nematodes establish. Step 5. Combine with cultural practices. Aerate the lawn in early fall. Aeration brings some grubs to the surface where birds and other predators can access them. It also improves soil health, which reduces stress on grass roots that might otherwise succumb to grub feeding. Step 6. Water deeply but infrequently. Shallow frequent. Watering creates the moist upper soil that grubs prefer. Deep watering, which soaks water 8 inches deep and then lets the top dry, drives the grubs deeper where they're less active. Step 7. Keep lawn mowing tall, 3 inches or more. Taller grass has deeper roots, which are harder for grubs to destroy completely. Resilient grass survives grub feeding that would kill shorter, stressed grass. Step 8. Fertilize appropriately. Over-fertilized lawns, especially with high nitrogen, attract beetle egg-laying. Balanced, modest fertilization keeps the lawn strong without signaling beetles that this is prime territory. Step 9. Address adult beetles. For Japanese beetles, which lay the eggs that become next year's grubs, hand-picking adults off plants in the morning and dropping them in soapy water reduces the adult population. For larger infestations, beetle traps can help, though they sometimes attract more beetles than they catch. For homes that want to go fully chemical-free, accepting some grub damage is reasonable. A few patches of grub damage a year, repaired with reseeding, is workable. Grubs are part of the natural ecosystem, and eliminating them completely often isn't necessary. A few honest notes: milky spore and nematodes work well for the specific grubs they target. If you have species they don't address, results will be limited. Milky spore is specifically for Japanese beetle grubs. Nematodes work on a broader range. Treatment timing matters. Both milky spore and nematodes work best when grubs are young and actively feeding, which is late summer in most regions. Applying in spring when grubs are already large and approaching pupation is less effective. For severely damaged lawns, treatment alone won't restore the grass. You'll need to oversee damaged areas as described in the lawn revival script. The approach is layered: stop the grub damage, then restore the lawn. For homes where grub damage has attracted extensive digging by moles, skunks, or raccoons, you may need additional animal management. Secure trash cans, remove attractions, and consider temporary fencing or scent repellents. The grub control eliminates the food source, which over time reduces animal visits. For homes with lawns that never show grub damage despite having beetles around, you're in luck. Some lawn types, soil conditions, and maintenance habits simply don't develop grub problems. Keep doing what you're doing. For homes with recurring annual grub damage, the ongoing solution is establishing permanent control. Milky spore, applied over 3 years, provides decades of protection. The initial investment pays back many times over. The economic comparison: $3 for diatomaceous earth plus $20 for milky spore, or $20 to $30 for nematodes. Total under $50 for a full season of grub control, versus $200 to $500 per chemical treatment, often requiring repeated applications, versus hundreds to thousands in lawn repair after severe grub damage and animal digging. Environmental comparison: biological controls are safe for pets, children, pollinators, beneficial insects, and water systems. Chemical pesticides have broader ecosystem impacts that are increasingly concerning. One more tip. If you have a large property with serious grub pressure, consider working with a licensed integrated pest management specialist rather than a conventional lawn care service. IPM approaches prioritize biological control and use chemicals only when necessary. The cost is often similar and the results are better long-term. For smaller lawns, the DIY approach is straightforward and affordable. A weekend of setup, a few weeks of waiting, and the grub problem becomes a memory rather than an annual crisis. And once milky spore is established, you basically stop worrying about grubs. The soil becomes hostile to them at the population level. Isolated grubs might still occur, but infestation-level problems stop happening. That's the long-term payoff of the biological approach. If your lawn has been torn up by grubs and animals digging for grubs, try the biological treatment this fall. Confirm the problem, apply milky spore or nematodes, adjust watering and mowing practices, overseed the damaged areas. In a season, you'll see recovery. In a few years, you'll have a lawn that takes care of itself. For a fraction of the cost of ongoing chemical treatment, and your lawn will be a place where bees and butterflies can visit without concern. That's worth something too.